Welcome everybody to another episode of It Head Sports. I'm your host Brian Parker, along with my co-host Mr. Randall Hargrove. How you doing, sir?
I've seen better days.
Well, you have seen better days, but we don't see you in a bag this time, even though I'm pretty sure that the bag would have been more appropriate today than the last time.
Look,
Woo!
82 points surrendered by the Steelers defense over the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, is that really a defense? Woo! Yeah, that was pretty terrible. We're going to get into that and a lot more on this episode of Head to Head. If you are joining us, you may be viewing us on LinkedIn, Facebook, or YouTube. And we appreciate you guys from joining wherever you are. Please always like, share, and subscribe so that you are always in the know with what we're doing, whether it's Head to Head or any of our other shows that we put up on the Empower Network. So just want to thank y'all for tuning in. If you have any questions or comments, please put them in that comment box. And Anthony has already jumped in talking about, Brian, you can't be talking with Cam doing bad. Well, I'll get to that too. Cam ain't looking that good. But you know, I know a lot of people are going to make a lot of excuses for him and say, well, he hadn't played all season. He's learning a new offense. That offense wasn't designed for him. I don't know who that offense was designed for, because whoever they put out there don't seem to know what the hell they're doing when they try it. So I'm kind of in the middle of the road about that. I think that Carolina just probably needs to tank it and worry about next season and everything else. Everybody's hurt. I'm starting to really sour on Christian McCaffrey. I know that's probably could get me run out of Charlotte. But I was actually about to intentionally miscall him Dan Morgan because it reminds me of a talented linebacker that Carolina had for so many years, but he was always great when he was on the field. But the problem was he couldn't stay healthy. It reminds me of Sean Lee with the Dallas Cowboys. You know, really, really great linebacker, but he's always hurt. And, you know, as you hear the cliche, but it is true in this league, your best ability is your availability. You can't do anything for your team if you can't be on the field when they need you. Ask Dallas, Amari Cooper. Or, you know, even with the Steelers, you know, when TJ Watt ain't out there, it's a totally different team. So there's a lot of teams that run into that same issue. When they're missing key core players, their team is totally different. So, you know, you could be, you know, one of the best talents out there, but if you can't stay healthy, every time we're zooming over to the sidelines and we're seeing them, you know, try to relax your hamstring or your ankle and all of that, then yeah, I don't know. I ain't trying to say what good are you, but, you know, Dallas has proven that Tony Pollard can probably do a whole lot more damage than Zeke, and Zeke was the one that got the money. So, you know, a lot of teams are showing that. You know, we'll see that this week with Minnesota. Dalvin Cook's going to be out. We'll see if Alexander Madison can step up and, you know, run, and he's not even the primary back and the one making all the money. So, but Rand, you know, just to look back over the last 2 weeks, because we weren't on last week, the one thing that I can say about this season, unlike many others, is parity. I mean, normally by week 12, you kind of already know who's going to be where. And you kind of know some of the teams that are probably going to make it, but you don't know who's going to win their division. You don't know what seed they're going to be. And we're already going into week 13. And a lot of that is still yet to be decided. What's up with that?
It's crazy, man. It's like these teams will hit the gas and they will look great for 2 weeks and then turn around and just lay an egg for 2 weeks. Like, look at what the Rams are doing right now. They don't even look like the same team, man. So
no, I mean, at the beginning of the year, they were talking about Stafford for MVP.
Yes, and now you're talking about Stafford for something else. But it's just crazy how these teams could hit momentum and then they could just go into just total and complete chaos.
And
Um,
do and lose to teams that you would say, okay, that's a win, that's a win, and then they play them and they fall flat and they lose, and you're like, how did they beat them, but they lost to you name it, and you're like, it doesn't even make any sense. I
exactly,
mean,
like with
this is
Carolina,
any given
like
Sunday.
Carolina, they go out and they look like world beaters against the Cardinals. Granted, the Cardinals did not have Murray, but they just dominated that team. And
Mm-hmm.
the defense for the Cardinals, they didn't change, but they couldn't stop us. And all of a sudden, we turn around and we can't beat Washington. And then we go out last week and just look lost against Miami. So the Panthers had it really set up beautiful for them had they
I
gone out into those
know.
games. And we were talking about that last time that we were on. Hey, we said Miami on the schedule, that's a winnable game. Washington on the schedule, that's a winnable
Mm-hmm.
game. By the time we get back to here, the Panthers could be 7-5 heading into, bye weekend looking pretty good. And now the wheels have fallen off
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
reality.
Christian McCaffrey's out for the rest of the year. Dante Jackson is on IR, so I believe he's done, right, for the rest of the year.
He's done rest of the year. And
Yeah, so we're already missing J.C. Horn, and it's just Matt Paradis is, I believe, still out the center.
Mhm.
So as far as the Panthers go, here's my thing with Cam. I think they waited too late to do what they did. I didn't
Yeah.
disagree with the decision, but trying to bring somebody in this late, the excitement is there definitely. The buzz is definitely there. And it seemed like, at least for the first game or two that he came, the offensive line, because they haven't changed, but they seemed a little bit more, they played over their heads a little bit, especially in that first game that he came back. I mean, there were no sacks.
Yeah.
Um, and they really did everything that they did in that game. They weren't able to do with Sam Darnold. They hadn't been doing all year. And when he gets in, they play above their heads. And now they've kind of come back down to being who they've always been. Anthony says, I love to see the Cowboys failing every week. Washington coming up. Would you give up on C-Mac? Great running, but can't stay healthy, just like Saquon Barkley. Saquon, I feel bad for him because he just does not look like himself. It's like he just out there getting a check.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he looks like, sometimes for certain players, the thing that makes them special, when they don't have that, there's nothing else for them to fall back on. It's like what made him special was his burst, was his ability to just sit there and hit the hole and be gone. And
That
because
power
he can't,
too.
yeah, and that power, and because he has no command over that right now, he's what a lot of the scouts call a jag, just a guy. And so when and trust me, I wish it was different because he's on one of my fantasy football teams, and every week I'm like, should I just not even play him? Because I know what's going to happen. He's not going to be able to hold up for as many snaps. His only upside is the more opportunities he has to catch the ball out of the backfield. That's going to be Saquon's thing right now. But other than that, if you're just asking him to run between the tackles, he's going to be a jag. He's just going to be just a guy. Do you give up on C-Mac? Well, listen, they've already paid C-Mac a second contract. So you're either stuck with the contract or you got to look to trade him. Would I be more open today to trading C-Mac for better draft picks? Yeah. I would.
You gotta
I
look
ain't
at
gonna
that.
lie.
You have to look at that.
Here's the thing now with C-Mac. It ain't a matter of if anymore. It's just when. So even when he starts out the season, you already know he ain't gonna finish it. You already know.
19 of the last 24 games missed. That's incredible. That's unreliable.
That's a lot of money hitting your salary cap, and you're
Yes.
not
Yeah.
getting anything for it on the field. So
And
would I trade him if somebody came to me with a late first round pick or 2 second-round picks? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
you have to look into that. I
I
mean,
sure would.
and with this Saquon Barkley deal, if you remember, we were talking about that in preseason before the season even started. You know, I made the point that he has suffered a lot of lower extremity injuries in a younger
Right.
year. And
Mm-hmm.
that's going to make any running back tentative to hit the hole again because you just waiting for the next time you're going to get hurt. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
knee, ankles, he's had it pretty much all, man. So right now he's running very tentative and very soft because I'm imagining don't want to get another injury. He's just
Yeah.
probably afraid of being hurt. He's not
And
going to
and
admit
and,
that,
and when
but yeah,
you're running back, I mean, it's all about you having that trust that your body's going to hold up when you make
yeah,
those cuts and those digs into the ground and stuff like that, and you instantly change direction and stuff like that. You got to know there can't be any doubt in your mind that when you get ready to dig your leg into the ground, that it's going to hold. And
yeah,
you can tell that he doesn't trust that yet. And the thing is that we as men a lot of times want to feel like, hey, I'm good mentally, I can do it. You know, my body will catch up. And a lot of things you play in your head, but your body, like, I'm not there yet. And it's
yeah,
just obvious where his mind may be, his body isn't quite yet. And it's obvious, and it's just being exposed even more because their team is so bad. They've got
hmm
some other issues going on with New York. Now, they did some way, somehow or another, find a way to beat the Eagles. So they're making the NFC least look very, very interesting again this year. Anthony, going back to your Washington football team, you know, I've been high on them all season. Even when Fitzpatrick got hurt and I started seeing Heineke do some of the things that he was doing. And then you got McKissick, you got Gibson, and you got a handful of talent on that team. It's funny how they've actually been playing harder since Chase Young went out. You
and
know,
Sweat.
it's like they've you know, and that's what I like to see, that whole next man up mentality. And a lot of teams, they talk about that and they preach next man up, and they don't do it. But your
Yeah,
Washington football team, I'm excited, and they're only 2 games behind Dallas, I believe, in the NFC lead. So um, it could get real interesting at the end. It could
it
really get
can. It
interesting.
can. Washington's playing really good right now, and your boy Heineke, who I'll be the first. I said that dude is not going to be a franchise quarterback. He's starting to look like one. He's really
Mm-hmm.
starting to get it. So if Washington can hold on defensively and do their thing, I mean, hey, there's no telling where they could finish up at, man. But what I
Yeah.
point back to what Washington's doing, they're not much better than Carolina, especially not on paper. But the
Mm-mm.
difference in Carolina and Washington right now, because they run a lot of the same stuff offensively, but the difference between them right now is coaching, coaching,
Bingo. Bingo.
coaching, and coordinators. Carolina, you know, we had this conversation a few weeks ago. Somebody had asked me who do I think was on the hot seat. Um, You know, Rule's name didn't come up at that point, but I could tell you right now, Rule's ass is on fire right now. He better not lose this game to the Falcons coming out of a bye week. I'm gonna tell you what, man, it's either gonna be him or Joe Brady. I'm telling
I
you,
was
I don't
about to
think they
ask you
last the
that.
season.
Do you think he'll go the way of Joe Judge and basically try to lay Joe Brady down as the sacred cow,
I
just to
do.
try to
Some,
buy
yep,
him some time with Dave Tepper?
yep, I do. I think one of them will not last the season, especially if they get blown out by Atlanta. I mean, Atlanta is struggling themselves. So to go out coming out of a bye week when you had all this time to prepare and you go to Atlanta and you lay an egg, that's not going to sit well.
Yeah, yeah. You know, what they got to understand is this is definitely not the Jerry Richardson's Panthers of old, where mediocrity was just accepted. I don't see Dave Tepper. You know, the word Tepper and temper is real close. And I think
Mm-hmm.
Tepper has a temper and a temperament. about winning and losing, and he's used to winning. So he wants that badly, and he's not going to accept excuses and mediocrity for much longer. Anthony said, "What is wrong with the Seahawks? Who's on the hot seat, Russell Wilson or Pete Carroll?" Both.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's going to be
Both
some
of
major
them.
changes there. I don't
Yeah.
think Russ will be there next year. And if Russ ain't
And
there,
he
then
and he, and
Carroll
he
might
kind
not
of
be
laid
needed.
he kind of laid the groundwork for that this past off season, even though things, you know, when your girlfriend is already complaining about the relationship, and just because you kind of convince her to stick it out a little bit longer, it doesn't mean that the problems that she had with you went away. It just means that, you know, you're a great bull crapper. And you can talk her into it just a little bit longer. But, you know, then as the season has now played itself out and he still is constantly getting hit, pressured, hurried, and everything else, he wants to go somewhere else. He wants to be on a contender. And here's the other thing, too. When Russell Wilson has had a history of winning and now he's not, that's no fun for somebody like that. So he definitely has tasted victory plenty of times. So he wants to get out of there. Pete Carroll, um, you know, he came around and he found Russell Wilson at the right time that rejuvenated his career. Same thing happened to Bill Brady after he left Cleveland, and he ran into Tom Brady a couple of years later, and all of a sudden they call him the greatest coach of all time, but he didn't do nothing of that when he was with Cleveland. So Pete Carroll probably just benefited because Russell Wilson was his quarterback. And the other thing too is Russell has always surprised me because I never believed somebody his size would be able to do the things he does. He's arguably one of the best deep passing quarterbacks in the league, and he's arguably one of the shortest quarterbacks in the league. Figure that out. But somehow he does it. He extends plays with his legs. Every time I watch him and Tyler Lockett hook up, I constantly say Tyler Lockett has to be one of the most underrated wide receivers in the NFL because he just knows how to get open and Russell knows how to find him. But I think that magic is gone. You know, sometimes you live off your name for a long time. People didn't want to go to Seattle and deal with the 12th man and the Legion of Boom and all of that. All of that is dead. Ain't nobody fearing them. They go to Seattle, they good. Seattle come to them, we good. They're not fearing Seattle anymore. So Russell probably is going to want a new start somewhere else. Anthony says if the Lions haven't won a game, I can't put Dan Campbell on the hot seat. Oh, if the Lions hadn't won a game, the Lions set him up to fail. I don't know why he took that job. Dude was crying in the interview. You know, ever since they got rid of Jim Caldwell, they just ain't never been the same.
Yeah. Dan Campbell was one of the guys when that question came up about hot seat. I put him up there. I put Pete Carroll up there too, by the way.
Oh,
But,
yeah,
as
definitely.
far as Dan Campbell, you know, I said it may not be this year, but I mean, Detroit ain't gonna just live off of biting off kneecaps and gouging out eyeballs or whatever the hell he was talking about in that interview. You got to show something on the field, man.
Yeah, and honestly, and you got to be able to show, you know, your fans got to see progress. Now, I will say they're not winning, but they're not getting blown out in a lot of these games. They're competitive. They just don't have enough to push them over the top.
Yeah.
I'd rather see my team at least show up and make a game of it. Like, I don't want to be in the first quarter of the game and pretty much know the outcome. And and when you're scrapping, when you're trying to feed, sometimes you got to learn how to win. And learn how to take advantage of those last minute plays where the ball can bounce one way or the other, and you got to learn how to win. So those are going to be some growing pains. I wouldn't necessarily put him out the first year because I've actually seen Detroit be pretty competitive against certain teams. But I mean, their biggest issue on the offensive side is they got to address the quarterback issue.
You know what? They have been competitive in a lot of games, but the frustrating thing for Detroit fans is that a lot of coaching errors were made to cost them potential wins. They should have
Yeah.
beat Pittsburgh. They should have beat
Yep.
Pittsburgh. As much as it pains me to say it, they had that game, and they also
did.
should have beat the Bears on Thanksgiving Day. They should have beat
Yep.
Chicago.
Yep.
So
no,
those
you're
are
right.
things
You're absolutely right. There were some winnable games over the last couple of weeks that they could have won. But again, just as much as the players have to learn how to win, the coaches do too.
Yeah.
You know, if you insert X coach into those same situations, would the outcome have been different? Probably. So a lot of it, you know, whether it's clock management, teaching players when to stay in bounds, when to go out of bounds, all the situational football. A lot of those things you got to sit there and work with your team on. You can't wait till the game and sit there and let them know, okay, if there's an onside kick, this is what you do. Like, okay, Seattle almost came back in this game because they recovered an onside kick, and I'm going, oh my God, they're about to lose this game off some bull crap. So this past week has just been absolutely crazy. So just to kind of give you a roundup of what we had in the last week, the Bears did beat the Lions on Thanksgiving Day, 16-14. How about the Raiders giving it to the Cowboys on Thanksgiving Day?
Did not see that coming at all.
I did.
I think part of what you did is
I had a good
Dallas.
week in water cooler. I had a 5-0 week. I had a good week. Well, I did because it was close enough to December. And I know that the Cowboys in the month of December basically fall apart. I have said while I think it's ridiculous to watch them celebrate in September and October like they do, I get it because they won't have too many other games in the end of November and December to do that. The Cowboys are normally who I think they are. They cannot handle success very well. And you know, people are going to say, but Brian, Zeke is hurt. Amari didn't play. CD couldn't play because of concussion. Okay, but y'all told me that, hey, y'all had a defense in Dak. I mean, you know, what about your defense? You know, you let the Raiders put up 36 on you. I'm just saying. So I love the Cowboys. And then we had the Bills beat up on the Saints. See, this is a Jekyll and Hyde team too. Buffalo, I was like really, really looking at them as a strong Super Bowl contender. And they were doing their thing. And then some games, they lost to Jacksonville, for God's sakes. And then they'll turn around and just beat the brakes off of people. And you're looking at them going, okay, who are these guys? I don't know if I can trust the Bills. 1 week they look like world beaters. The next week you're looking at them going, what is wrong with you guys? I still don't really know what to make of the Bills. I know Josh Allen has the talent, but sometimes he just falls flat. Sometimes he can get it to Emmanuel Sanders and Stephon Diggs and Cole Beasley, and then sometimes he can't. They scored 6 points against the Jaguars in week 9. They lost the game 6-9. Then in week 10, they played the Jets and they hang 45. Week 11, they played the Colts. They hang 41. And then this past week, they hung 31 on the Saints. Who are they?
I don't think we know who any of these teams are.
You would be right. Anthony says, who do you trust more, the Bills or the Chargers? Both teams up and down. I trust the Bills a little bit more because the Chargers, I mean, they're both up and down, man. But I've seen the Chargers play some really bad football. Like when Herbert's not on his game, he'll do the same thing. He can look really, really good, or he can look really, really bad. So actually, I'm talking myself out of it. It's a toss-up. I don't know which ones I trust more. They're both Jekyll and Hyde right now. I don't know.
There's what, 32 teams in the NFL. I would say I don't trust 28 of them. I trust the Jags to be the Jags. I trust the Jets to be the Jets. I trust Houston to be Houston. Outside of that, I don't trust none of the others to be who they say they are.
And that's funny you say that, Ram, because we thought that there was this elite level, and then there was a good level, and then everybody else. And the ones that we had considered elite at the beginning of the season, they're all kind of jumbled in there with everybody else.
They are, yeah.
And you're almost like, it's really going to depend on that particular matchup on that particular Sunday. There's only 2 teams that get a first round bye. Everybody else is going to be clawing, and I don't think what seed you have is going to give you any better of a chance when playoff time comes, based on what I've seen all the way through the first 12 weeks of the season.
Yeah, it is crabs in a bucket at this point. It really is. You don't know who is going to make it out the bucket at this point. I mean, it could be anybody. I guess it just depends on who's going to get hot this month. We'll wait and see.
Yeah, exactly. The Falcons beat up on the Jaguars. Well, didn't beat up on them, but they won the game 21-14. But this was a team that I thought they were dead. You know, every time you think the Falcons are dead, Matt Ryan kind of wakes back up and throws 3 touchdowns and stuff like that, or Cordero Patterson gets loose, and they do their thing. You know, the Jets won 21-14 as well over the Texans. Young kid comes back after being out a couple of games. He has a better game, but then the beat down. The Patriots beat the Texans 36-13. They are now 8-4 in the AFC East.
Belichick, man.
What?
That Belichick system, and he is showing that he could do it with another young protege. Go ahead, Tom Brady. Go to Tampa if you want to. I'll get this young kid, and I'll do the same thing.
Yeah, this is what they were hoping Castle and Jimmy Garoppolo would be.
Yeah.
This kid was the 5th quarterback taken in the NFL draft last year. Everybody had an opportunity to take this guy, and he has to be a leading candidate for Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, definitely.
And I'm sitting there going, okay, that's amazing considering everybody that went before him. This dude basically fell in Belichick's lap. He didn't trade up to get him. He didn't make any rumblings or anything else. He just literally fell in his lap. And they're sitting there. And then they go through all the training camp. It looks like Cam Newton is going to be the clear QB1, at least for the first couple of games, before they feel like they can transition over to him. And right before opening season, they say, you know what? We're good. Thanks, Cam. We're going to roll with Mac. And as crazy of a decision as I thought that was at the beginning, the proof is in the pudding. They don't ask him to do too much, but I'm not going to call him a game manager because I've seen him make plays when he needs to make plays. I've seen them put the ball in his hand and trust him to drive the ball down the field. So I'm not going to call him a game manager, but he's very opportunistic. But he cashes in on those opportunities.
Yes.
Oh my God, unbelievable performance by Mac Jones. He's not turning the ball over. He's making a lot of good decisions. When he doesn't have it, he's throwing the ball away. A lot of times when you're a young quarterback and you try to play that hero ball, you probably just won't let you throw the ball away. You're going to try to fit it into triple coverage, end up wondering why you got intercepted. So, and he's throwing some really good balls too. He's putting it right there on them, on the numbers while they're in stride. They're running with the ball. He's playing to the spot, not necessarily to the receiver, and that's good too. So Mac Jones is doing a lot right now. As mentioned before, the Giants beat up on the Eagles 13-7. Jalen Hurts has been an up and down quarterback too. There's some games I've seen him play, and I'm like, okay, not bad. But he can't continue to try to be the leading rusher and be the quarterback. I mean, Lamar Jackson does that from time to time. But I think when you're having to lead your team in rushing, that takes a lot away from you as a quarterback.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Get that physical punishment. You're going to get hit when you're running football in the NFL, no doubt.
Exactly. So, I mean, if he's one of your fantasy guys, yeah, he's probably giving you some nice stuffings in those cases. But then, because he's taking a lot of those hits, then he may throw some crazy interceptions. Question: how would you sign Cordero Patterson to a new deal? Dude plays 3 positions, and he's a backup safety. That's 4. I saw that today.
Yeah.
Patterson is going to get his money. Well, it's funny. He's been around for so long, and he's always kind of been that guy that's a Swiss Army knife. And that is hurtful in some ways, because if you pay him as a running back, the value isn't as much as a receiver. We've seen this with tight ends that do more receptions on snaps than they do blocking, just straight blocking. And them try to fight for receiver type money because they're a primary receiver. I think about, the Greg Olsons. I think about Travis Kelce's, Darren Waller's, those kind of guys, Higbee's, where they do a lot of receptions. Cordero probably is going to be able to dictate which position he gets paid based off of.
Yeah, he will. But you got to be elite at something. So, I mean, as much as I respect him for being that Swiss Army knife, I mean, he's not elite at anything. So, he could be very serviceable to some teams, but he'll probably be a journeyman. I mean, I'm not giving Cordell Patterson any big money to do what he does.
Yeah. I mean, the problem with Cordero is you have to account for him wherever he is on the field. And because he lines up in so many different places, what they're looking for with him is creating a mismatch. Is he too fast for a linebacker, too big for a safety? That kind of thing. How is he lining up, and how is that going to disrupt what the defense is trying to do against you? So he does create some options that way. He'll get his money, but like Rand said, he's not going to pull off any kind of elite deal, because again, you're seeing what happens when these guys do get hurt and everything. They don't have nothing left. They put it all out on the field. You see, start talking about Cam again. You see what all those hits in their totality does to you. So even though your mind is telling you, hey, I'm going to leap over these 5 dudes into the end zone, your body like, whoa, 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 whoa. No, you ain't. No, we're going to work with gravity today. You're not going to do it. Another game that happened, 41-10, the Bengals over the Steelers. I've heard a lot of people comment and say this had to be by far one of the worst games Mike Tomlin has ever coached. The Bengals 2 weeks ago looked like their season was going in a totally different direction. At one point, they were leading the division, and I was like, yep, I knew it. Based off what I seen with Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and everybody else. And then they started losing. I was like, oh, God, they're going to make me look stupid. They're the Bungles all over again. They did the same thing. And then they ran into the Steelers. They also ran into somebody else the week before that, and they just handled their business. And I'm like, okay. They ran to the Raiders. They beat the Raiders 32-13. So they put 32 points on the Raiders. See, that's what I mean. This season didn't make any sense. The Bengals beat the Raiders 32-13. Then the next week, the Raiders go to Jerry World and beat the Cowboys 36-33.
Yeah, this is the craziest season that I've ever been a part of. It's ridiculous, man. You just don't know. You gotta really factor in momentum when you're talking about who's going to win these games and trying to make a prediction. momentum is just the biggest factor right now. If you look at what the Miami Dolphins are doing, they
Yep.
started off terrible, but now these past 3 ball games, the defense has looked a lot better.
Tua has looked a lot better.
Tua's looked a lot better. He's starting to get it. He's finding Waddle a lot.
Doing the Waddle.
On the way to the end zone. And now all of a sudden Miami is looking like they could do some things. But we'll see, man, if they keep this momentum going up or if some team breaks their momentum. But yeah, it's just really all about momentum right now. And it's crazy how a team could look really, really good from like week 10 and then look like just a train wreck come week 12.
In Indianapolis, the Colts seemed like for 3 quarters they had Tampa Bay's number.
Yeah. I thought that was a wrap.
And Leonard Fournette went back to his LSU days. My God. He had 4 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Now, the week before that, on the other side of the ball, Jonathan Taylor, who recently passed Derrick Henry for being the leading rusher, even though King Henry has been out for about 4 or 5 weeks now. And technically, he's still the second leading rusher in the NFL.
Insane.
How about that? How crazy is that? But so Jonathan Taylor the week before had 5 touchdowns. And I guess Leonard Fournette wanted to prove, hey, I can do that too. So he got a receiving touchdown and 3 rushing touchdowns. And that one at the very end where they were just trying to get a first down and keep the clock moving, and he just busted out like a jailbreak, and he just ran down that left side and kept on going. And he got a very nice block too. And Gronk had a really good game, had over 100 yards receiving. So you just don't know how Brady is going to beat you, but if you leave him time on the clock, he will beat you. I think that's what you got to learn is that it ain't over as long as there's time on the clock and Tom Brady's on the field. So yeah, they came back. That was a very winnable game for the Colts, and they just couldn't hold up at the end. They just could not stop the run, and that's what kept helping them on a day where he really couldn't get the ball to Mike Evans. Chris Godwin was doing some good things. Gronk was doing some good things. But yeah, Tom Brady just had enough time to come back and kill you. Speaking of which, you talk about, do I trust the Chargers? How can I trust the Chargers when they lost to Teddy Bridgewater and the Broncos?
Man, yeah, how can you? It's just this is an insane year. That's all I can say.
I mean, the Broncos are 6-5. The Chargers are 6-5. There's a lot of teams that are 6-5 or 6-6, and you're like, mathematically, they're still in position for the playoffs. Normally, we talk about, especially in the AFC, man, you got to win about 12 games just to, make the playoffs. You win 10 games, you're probably not going to make it. Well, this year, somebody going to win 10 games and be in the playoffs.
Oh, absolutely. AFC and the NFC.
Yeah. I mean, the way they're beating up on each other, you may only have to win 9 to be a wild card.
Yep, 9 and 8 may get you
9 and 8 and you're a wild card. So it's a little crazy. 49ers beat on the Vikings. That was a pretty good game. Garoppolo looked a lot better, but let's be honest, it was the Deebo Samuel and Elijah Mitchell show. Deebo is like Cordero for San Francisco. Is he a receiver? Is he a running back? Deebo can do it all. And when he gets away from you, good night. He is gone. Hopefully he'll be okay because he stretched his groin out towards the end of that game. Elijah Mitchell came back from that finger injury. He ran for over 120 yards, I believe. So he had a really good game. Dalvin Cook got taken out of the game late. Looks like he tore a labrum and separated his shoulder. So he's going to be out for a little while. Alexander Mattison's going to take the place for him. But yeah, the Vikings, even at 5-6, they ain't out of it.
No. Kind of, I think it's funny that people are talking trading for Garoppolo right now when Garoppolo is like, to me, in my eyes anyway, the ultimate game manager when he has all of that rushing attack down in San Francisco, and right now they're leaning on a good defense. I don't see anybody giving up any major picks for Garoppolo. I'm sorry.
Yeah, if you go down that path, you deserve what you get. Yeah, I mean, what is the saying when somebody shows you who they are, believe them?
Yeah.
I mean, what has Jimmy G showed you? That if he doesn't have the right stuff around him, he can't function.
No.
He can't function. Anthony says that's like saying, do you trust Lamar Jackson? Hell no. They're not making it out of the first round. Lamar can't read defense.
Anthony
Okay,
does not
well,
like Lamar Jackson.
I was about to go into the Browns and the Ravens. And even in the water cooler, we had to pick this game. And I did pick the Ravens, but not because of my infinite trust in Lamar. Is my distrust in Baker to do enough to win a game. My question in my head was, is it more probable that Baker will not win a game than Lamar will lose a game? And after throwing 4 interceptions in a game, obviously Lamar did his damnedest to try to lose that game. Because before that, no quarterback has ever thrown 4 interceptions in a game and they won. Because we understand that turnovers can cost you games. 1, much less 4. And he did it on back-to-back possessions at one point. At one point in the second quarter, there were 5 turnovers between the two teams. Then nobody wants the ball. Fumble recovery, 2 picks. I'm just like, oh my God, this is some bad football. This is terrible. They rolled this crap out on Sunday night. This was nuts. They ended up winning 10-16 because I just knew Baker Mayfield wasn't going to win them the game. They wanted to blame it on Odell. It ain't Odell. Odell gone. They probably still trying to figure out a way to blame it on Odell. Maybe they say his daddy was at the game watching it. But it wasn't that. What I don't understand with the Browns is you have Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. Baker Mayfield should be your Jimmy Garoppolo.
You got that right. You got that right. And they got Ernest. What's his name?
Yeah.
Ernest Johnson,
Ernest. Yeah.
Ernest. Yeah, another one.
So why isn't that your game plan? I don't get that. Like,
yeah.
It's a difference between playing injured and playing hurt. Browns should have benched Baker. I agree. They should bench him because if you ask Baker, can he go? He's always going to say yes. And you know what? Once somebody tells me, well, he played, but he was hurt. See, I don't want to hear that because there's 52 guys on an active roster. So if you're taking up one of them spots, I got to believe that you're one of the best 52 out there. If you're hurt to the point that it's affecting your play that way, and there's really another guy that could probably do the team a better service, then that guy needs to be out there. So if Baker is out there, my assumption is whoever his backup is still doesn't give them the better chance to win. That even a hurt Baker Mayfield gives his team a better chance to win than whoever his backup is. I know that's not always the case because I know a lot of times these starters get some kind of preferential treatment in determining whether they stay in or out and that kind of thing because we treat them like divas. But if you thought he was hurting you, and you're still not necessarily out of the playoff race either. So you got to put that pride aside and say, hey, listen, if his backup can get us a win and he can get some rest, then that's what we need to do. You know, the Cowboys did that a couple weeks ago with Cooper Rush, and it worked out for him to get Dak some more rest. So, you know, if the quarterback is out there and he's playing, I don't want to hear nothing later after the game talking about, well, you know, he got a harness on his shoulder and this and that and the other. Okay.
Yeah, the
And
backup did pretty daggone good in that championship game last year against the Chiefs. He sure did.
right,
So,
right.
I respect Baker a lot for trying to get out there. Everybody knows he has a lot of heart, but heart can only take you so far in the NFL. The talent is missing with Baker. And then on top of that, he's saying a lot of the wrong things too. So this is not going to be a lasting situation in Cleveland, man. They're going to make a move at the end of the year with Baker Mayfield.
Got to. Anthony says Case Keenum is not that bad.
Correct.
Not, and he's not in limited action because you can come up with a game plan where you can play to his talents and again lean heavily on your rushing. You've got 3 studs. Lean on your rushing. Yes, you got Jarvis Landry as a good wide out, but play some good football, play some good defense. Your defense was trying to help you out, but you, off of those 4 Lamar Jackson turnovers, you got 3 points out of that. I mean, what's the defense supposed to do? Give you 4 more turnovers so you can get 6? Then you would have tied the game. If only Lamar had thrown 4 more interceptions, then we would have gotten 6 points instead of 3. So that sounds crazy. Now, one of the more interesting games was the Rams-Packers game where COVID-toe Aaron Rodgers played against Matthew Stafford. This was the same Packers team that lost their first game and then went on and ripped off a bunch of games in a row. And then, of course, they lost the one where to the Chiefs where Aaron Rodgers wasn't able to play because of COVID. But this team right now is one of the hottest teams in the NFL at 9-3. And the Rams had nothing for them. I honestly thought that once the Rams went all in with Von Miller, and I was just like, okay, they're doing everything they can to win this year. But Matthew Stafford is regressing. He's seeing ghosts on the field. I don't know what he's looking at. He's missing Cooper Kupp, one of his most reliable targets. He's underthrowing, overthrowing. He's just not being as sharp as he was. And everybody was hailing the fact that Sean McVay has found his quarterback and they're on the same page and they got this chemistry with each other. And like a lot of other games in this season, it looked that way at one minute, and now it looks like who knows. Now we say all of this, they could play their next game and just run them off the field. The next game that the Rams play is against the Jaguars. Now they should beat the brakes off the Jags, but we'll see. I'm not gonna get ahead of my skis on that. I don't know. I honestly don't know.
They daggone better because I'm starting the Rams for fantasy football. I'm starting their defense this week. They better give me 20 points, daggone it.
Man, I mean, they should. They should. And looking ahead to next week, that was all the games that we had. You got tomorrow's game between Dallas and New Orleans. Mike McCarthy isn't going to be coaching, which probably excites most of the fans in Dallas. Now he is under COVID protocol, so COVID's been running pretty rampant through Cowboys, kind of like it did with a couple of clubs before. So Dan, what's his name from Atlanta, is going to be on the sidelines coaching, I believe. Dallas is 7-4. The Saints are 5-6. Who needs this game more, Rand?
Dallas better take it. I'm telling you, Dallas better take this game, man.
What's Charlotte, North Carolina going to look like on Friday morning if the Cowboys lose Thursday night?
It's going to be a ghost town on on social media. I could tell you that. But Dallas better take this game. They lost about 3 straight now, something.
Yeah. Well, they lost 3 out of their last 4. So in November, they won 1 game.
Yeah. So the thing that they are known for, which is falling come the winter time, and when it gets
Yeah.
real for football, they're starting to live it out. So
I like to
they
call
won't
them
break
Jenga.
that curse. They better break it.
I call them Jenga because all you got to do is put one little piece out. They just go.
Yeah. Better get it fixed. And
If
I think
they don't be, and from what I'm hearing, Taysom Hill is going to start at quarterback instead of what's his name, Simeon. So we'll see how that goes. I don't know if the Cowboys have game planned enough for what it looks like with Trevor Simeon under center versus having Taysom Hill. That's going to be something they have to account for because Taysom may take that ball under center and keep it. That may be a heavy dose of that. We'll see. Dallas is favored to win, but we'll see about that. You got a couple of handful of games on Sunday. You've got Carolina against the bye. I'm taking the bye by 6.
I got the bye too. I got the bye by 2.
Somehow I think somebody will end up on injured reserve after this bye. They didn't even play. But the Giants are supposed to go into Miami and play the Dolphins. Miami is favored to win this game. But I'm going to be honest. I think the Giants actually got a chance.
Well, Danny Jones probably won't play, so you might want to factor that into your decision too.
I think that'll actually give them a better chance.
Dang. I don't know. I got Dolphins defense wrecking them, so we'll see.
Yeah, but it's funny how what happens though a lot of times is when a team brings in a different quarterback, they haven't had enough film lately to game plan for this quarterback. They know that if you basically stare at Daniel Jones, he'll throw you the ball and you'll get an interception. All you got to do is stare at him or go boo and bat the ball down or bat it up in the air and one of you guys will catch it. They know that with Daniel Jones. Who's the quarterback that's coming in for Jones?
I got to look that up.
That would be, that's going to be interesting.
It's one of those vets with experience, I do believe. Let me see. Giants quarterbacks. Mike Glennon.
Yeah, I trust Mike Glennon for a game. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Glennon going to bring them the victory. I'm picking that game.
Whoa, you stepping out, calling that on live, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm calling it. You got the 8-3 Bucks going against the 5-6 Falcons. Of course, Tampa Bay is favored to win. You good with that?
Oh yeah, I think the Bucks.
All right. Here's a good one. Now this is crazy. The Chargers are 6-5 Chargers are going into Cincinnati to take on the 7-4 Bengals. Cincinnati is favored to win.
That will be a good one. We're gonna see. I can't even call that one. Cincinnati normally coming off a big victory, all pumped up, fired up, will turn around and lay an egg their next
Honestly,
game.
I think it's going to come down to two things: whoever commits the fewest mistakes and whoever has the best rushing game. Is it going to be Austin Eckler? Is it going to be Joe Mixon? As long as the quarterbacks don't get in the way, this could be a really, really good game. I actually trust Joe Burrow's receivers more than I trust Justin Herbert's right now. That could actually become a big part too. If Jamar Chase breaks loose, or even if T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, those guys get loose, it could be a long day for the Chargers. If anything, it could end up being a damn shootout. But every time I think there's going to be a shootout, the game is like 9-3.
Right.
So I don't know. I don't know anymore either. You got the Eagles 5-7 going to the Jets. Philadelphia is favored to win. The Jets are 3-8. And as much as I want to believe that the Eagles are going to go in there and wreak havoc, I honestly think the Jets are going to win their 4th game of the year.
Yeah, I can't argue it. Can't argue it.
I can't trust the Eagles like that. Now, I will trust this game. The 9-2 Cardinals are going to Chicago to play the 4-7 Bears. Arizona is favored to win. Water is wet. I think they'll beat them pretty well. regardless who the quarterback is, whether it's Fields or whether it's Red Rocket. I don't think it's going to change anything.
I do think the Cardinals are getting back Murray and Hopkins for this game.
They are, yeah. So they get Murray back and Hopkins, and yeah, that's just not going to be good at all. The Vikings 5-6 go to see the 0-10-1 Lions. Minnesota is favored to win, and yeah, they'll do so. Indy at 6-6 against 2-9 Texans in Texas. Indianapolis is favored to win.
No lies detected there.
Yeah, I got that one too. 5-6 Washington against the 6-5 Raiders in Las Vegas. Las Vegas is favored to win.
That'll be another. It should be another tight one. That should be another good one.
I think that's a tight one. I mean, to me, that's a toss.
Yeah.
I mean, it depends on if the Raiders defense can get enough pressure on Taylor Heineke. But here's the problem with Heineke. I've seen him be just as smooth in the pocket as he is rolling out to his left or his right. Yeah. So when he's on the run, you're not really putting him in a bad spot. You're just giving McKissick more time to run downfield.
Yeah.
And he can get it to him. So for a lot of quarterbacks, like if it was Brady and you were coming up through the middle, putting that pressure on him, he doesn't like that because he's not going to roll out on you. He needs that pocket. So now if the defense is in that pocket with him, yeah, that's going to mess up his timing. Tom Brady is a timing quarterback. But Heineke doesn't need to sit in that pocket to beat you. So putting pressure on him in the middle and not getting home to him isn't going to bode well for you. So if they want to win that game, they better do more than just rush him. They better put him on the ground. You got the 2-9 Jaguars going against the 7-4 Rams. LA is favored to win. Okay, LA, I'm gonna give you this one. I just think that Sunshine is gonna throw at least one interception, and that should help you. I think Jalen Ramsey is gonna have a pick six in this game.
Yeah, LA gets back right with this game.
Yeah, Jaguars is a good get right game. Yeah, you gotta hand it to you. This is a good right game. Speaking of good right games, and I never thought I would say this, 6-5 49ers face the 3-8 Seahawks. San Francisco is favored to win. Even if Debo doesn't play, I don't see the Seahawks stopping the run. They couldn't stop Antonio Gibson and J.D. McKissick the other days. I don't see them stopping Elijah Mitchell, Trey Sermon, and those guys either running that football.
No, so, Seattle has nobody to run their football. So
right.
So,
and then if San Francisco starts to get a big enough lead on you, you know that the only chance the Seahawks will have is to just keep trying to throw the ball down the field.
Yeah,
that's when that defense can really kind of come in and get some turnovers too.
That would be all Russ putting it on his shoulders once again. I think, to be honest, he's a little tired of that, and probably a lot of the reason why he wants out of Seattle. Seattle is heading in the direction of a rebuild, and I don't think that Russ wants to stick around for it.
I don't either. He's not ready for a rebuild because, number one, they should have blew this up a long time ago. What's happening is they're feeling the lingering effects of holding on to something that should have been dealt with a long time ago. Yeah. The Ravens 8-3 go to Pittsburgh to handle with the 5-1 Steelers. Baltimore is favored to win the game.
Mm-hmm.
I don't trust Baltimore like that.
I don't know, man. As badly as Pittsburgh has been playing, they're still 5-1 right there. You would think they were more like 3-8, but
right.
They're still 5-1. So Jackson coming off of a 4 interception performance. This one is probably a little even. The only thing that worries me, once again, no TJ Watt. So that's going to help Baltimore tremendously.
If the Steelers can figure out a way to spy Lamar Jackson, make him run when he's not looking to run, so that he runs into a defender, not on the edges and stuff, it could be a lot closer. But then just play some really, really good fundamental defense. Lamar Jackson will throw you a pick or two. He's good for that. And play some really, really good fundamental defense around his feet because he will lose a ball. He holds that ball out, and that's why he fumbles so much. So look for that. Because he's trying to make big plays, sometimes that opens him up to making a lot of big mistakes. I'm going with the Steelers on this one.
And I hope you are right. That's all I can say about that.
Anthony says DK Metcalf needs to show up or get out. All right, then. Anthony, do you think it's DK Metcalf's fault? Because between him and Lockett, those are the best receivers you got. And Metcalf, you got to understand, is the reason Lockett keeps getting open is because they keep doubling Metcalf. So he frees up the other side of the field. So a lot of times when you command that much attention, it looks like you're not producing, but it's because they're throwing a linebacker. I mean, a linebacker may be dropping in the coverage. A safety may be coming over the top to help. So you can't put that ball in that window because somebody's going to come pick it off. And if they're playing like a too high safety and then that safety drops down into the box and they follow Metcalf wherever he goes, it's going to make it terribly hard for him to do that. And then that's why Lockett a lot of times has those one-on-one matchups, and all he has to do is get past that defender in between, and that's why he's open like he is. What has he done the last 4 games? Adams gets doubled and still kills. Yeah, but Adams' quarterback is a bad man.
Yeah.
And they have some really, really good chemistry. I love Russell Wilson, but he ain't Aaron Rodgers. I'll say that. So
I saw something on social media today talking about DK Metcalf is basically a Juju Smith-Schuster, and I never really thought about it that way, but they are pretty much the same player. They are pretty much the same player, man. They disappear a lot.
Damn. That is true, though.
Too physical.
I like that comparison.
Yep, 2 physical wide receivers, freaks in the weight room, but as far as like consistent wide receiver play, a lot of disappearing acts.
So let me throw this out real quick then. Who would you rather have right now? I ain't talking about for next season or anything else. Randall Cobb or DJ Metcalf?
I'm taking Metcalf. Randall Cobb is fine. I mean, his best days are behind him.
Well, the only reason I throw out Randall Cobb is Aaron Rodgers really wanted Cobb. And what Cobb did in the last game was absolutely ridiculous. I wasn't expecting that from him because, to what you just said, his best days are behind him. But it looked like he rolled back the clock this past week because Rodgers was finding him all over the place. He was getting touchdowns. His runs after the catch looked like Randall Cobb of old. So sometimes it just kind of depends on the situation you're in. And again, that's why I go back to Aaron Rodgers. When you've got Lazard, when you've got Cobb, when you've got Devontae Adams, when you got Valdez Scantling, when you got so many different receivers that you can put the ball in their hands, that makes it hard for a defense to hone in on one or two of them. When you got Lockett and when you got Metcalf, and that's about it as far as your real threats at receiver, that makes it a lot easier because they know you can't run.
Exactly.
So all they're going to do is basically force you to beat them with the run by locking up your receivers. Everybody has figured that out now with Seattle. We lock up their receivers, force them to run. We got a better chance of winning the game. And the reason we have a better chance of winning the game, because they're not going to score a lot of points trying to run the ball.
Yep, that's a great point.
And as long as we can keep them from making it a shootout, we can be in the game the whole game long.
Yeah, you're looking at Aaron Rodgers and the weapons he has. He has a lot of wide receivers that can win one-on-one matchups. Even the tight end can win a one-on-one matchup.
Yep.
When you go to Seattle, you're not finding that, man. You got one wide receiver pretty much that can win a one-on-one matchup, and then you got Metcalf, who's a maybe sometimes, and then the tight ends.
Disley ain't winning no matchups. No. I mean, he get open, but Disley ain't winning no matchups. No. And as soon as he catches the ball, he's on the ground. He's not going to get a bunch of yards after the catch. So
right,
throwing those 6 yard in cut passes is not going to do a lot for you if you can't run. He says because their running back sucks, but they did sign AP. But who cares? They did?
They did. They signed AP a few minutes ago. I don't think it's going to make him any difference, but yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah, who cares? Is right.
The only person that cares is anybody that AP is dating that would love to see some of them game checks. So, yeah, any of his kids would love it. But that's about it. That's the only ones that care. All right, wrapping up the week, last two games, you've got the 6-5 Teddy Bridgewater-led Denver Broncos going into Kansas City to face Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. KC is favored to win. This is going to be Sunday Night Football on NBC. This should not be as close of a game as it probably is going to be, and I still, for the life of me, can't figure out why. But the Broncos are just efficient. I mean, I guess at some point I gotta stop hating on them. They're doing what they got to do.
Where you at, Brad? Where you at?
I need them to just fall off the cliff because I don't want to have to sit there at the end of the season, there in the playoffs, and look at Brad and go,
I don't want to hear it either. We really talked a lot of junk about Brad's Broncos.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Here they are.
Him in Denver. I'm like, oh my God, you gotta be kidding me. And then lastly, Monday Night Football is going to be a classic.
Best game of the week.
I hope it's a classic. It sounds like a classic. The 8-4, I repeat, the MF and freaking 8-4 New England Belichick Patriots are going to Orchard Park to face the 7-4 Buffalo Bills. And the Buffalo is favored to win. I am going for the freaking upset in this game. I think Belichick is going to outcoach McDermott in this game, and that's going to be the difference. I think they're going to put a lot on Josh Allen to have to use his legs, and that's just not going to be enough. I think that New England defense is going to feast on him trying to find Stephon Diggs too much, not utilize Cole Beasley enough, not utilize Emmanuel Sanders enough, try to rely on Singletary and Matt Breida to run the ball, and I just don't think it's going to be enough. I think the Patriots have a good system down, and unless they can put enough pressure on Mac Jones and rush his timing, if they don't do that, they have no shot.
Yeah, I got the Bills in this one, but I can't argue with your logic. Pretty much the only reason I'm taking Buffalo is because that was the one I hitched my wagon to in preseason and said they're going to the Super Bowl. So they're going to the Super Bowl. They better win games like this.
If the Patriots win this game, man, oh God, if they win that game, that's going to be absolutely crazy. Yeah, because they will because they haven't played Buffalo yet, so they still have another game the day after Christmas against the Bills as well. Even if they split it, if they end up winning the conference, then it's going to come down to some tiebreakers to determine who wins the actual conference. So you really only need one, but you got a chance. In the next 3 games, they play the Bills twice.
Okay.
So if you can steal one at their place, hold set at home, you got the division.
Yeah,
because you'll own the tiebreaker.
That one's going to be pretty interesting coming down the stretch.
Mm-hmm. If they can steal those 2 or 3, because in between they got the Colts sandwiched in between. Then after that, their last 2 games is the Jaguars and the Dolphins. So nice padding there, NFL, for Belichick. But yeah, 2 out of the next 3 games are going to be against the Bills. So we'll know a lot more about who the Patriots are coming out of this game on Monday night. So I think it's going to be a heck of a week. I don't know what's going to happen. Everything that I just said probably will happen, won't. Losing teams will win this week. Teams that's been world beaters will lose. Who knows? My fantasy will look crazy. I beat somebody the other day on our Facebook Kings. They only had 30 something points. I know they were sad and blue.
Good God.
They didn't even get 40, man.
Wow.
I mean, I'm dying laughing because I'm like, wow, that's just crazy. So, yeah, it's been one of those weeks. I won in my Red Roof one as well because I was supposed to lose it by a lot, and I was losing it by a lot, and I ended up winning because the other guys' players just fell flat. They didn't do nothing. He had a lot of good players, and they just nothing. Just absolutely horrible. So you just never know. Even in fantasy, when it looks like I just chalked it up, I said, okay, this is going to be an L this week. And then I look back and I'm like, oh my God, I won. So yeah, who knows? So I won both. I won Facebook Kings and I won my Red Roof one. So it was a pretty good week other than the Panthers losing.
Whew, man.
Yeah. But anyway, as long as the Cowboys lost, I'm good.
He might be good again this week.
I think so. I think so. I think Facebook gonna be real quiet on Friday morning. Yeah, we're gonna see. Oh man. All right, everybody. Well, it has been fun. Again, please like, share, subscribe. We are here for it. Every single week we're gonna review these games. So as always, my co-host Randall Hargrove, Brian Parker, heading out with Head to Head Sports. We'll see y'all again. Same time next week. Peace out.